Today, I'm joined by what I consider a legend, highly recommended by a friend of the podcast, Tommy Carlucci. Sean, Big Daddy, welcome to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast.
My friend, I am absolutely honored to be on the Mike Squires podcast. You know, it's legend. That just makes me old. We know that, right? But that's okay. We're good. You know, it's funny. I've lived in this area forever and ever. Working for James Daniel. I've been working for James Daniel for 34 years. I've known Jimmy, the owner, Jimmy Romanello, for a longer time than that. But you know what? The great thing about what I get to do for a living is I get to make people happy. I get all happy. So every now and again you get the whatever. But 99% of the time, and as a company, we not only do DJs, we have bands, we have this, we have that, but we also have AV and event lighting, and our casino crew is amazing. We do some casinos in the area and stuff like that. Matter of fact, we got one tonight for multiple myeloma in Norwalk. You know, we're able to do a lot of wonderful things, and we've been on Bedford Street. Holy smokes, we've been on Bedford Street since 1990.
I know, I've seen you guys there forever. So for the people listening in, give us a quick breakdown about who you are and everything, just so everyone listening can kind of get familiar and know who they're dealing with today.
Well, I am given name John McKee. I have been Sean since I was born. That's a Gaelic term for John, Irish term for John. I've been Big Daddy for probably about 25 years, so 99% of the people know me as Big Daddy. How I got that was I used to be the big guy when I first started DJing, and then my motivators in my bar and bat mitzvahs and some of my younger DJs said, we can't call you Big Guy, can we call you Big Daddy? It stuck, and I've been Big Daddy for a very long time, and am blessed to be Big Daddy. Some of the problems, my youngest son was one of our DJs for a time too, and everybody thought he was Little Big Daddy. No, he wasn't. He was DJ Casey, and DJ. Actually, he called himself DJ Whiteout, WHYTEOWT. He worked for us, and my son Desi, my older son, he worked for me as a roadie and security and everything else. I am a twice survivor of cancer.
I did know this. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that.
2008 into 2009, radiation, and then, that was the prostate, and then melanoma from 2012, middle of 2012, to almost the end of 2013. The thing is, I never missed an event while going through chemo and radiation. If they hired me and I was on the contract, I went. I had great crew. And of course, my support system with Jimmy, the owner of the company, and I'm now a little partner in it, and Paul Lacano, the other gentleman, is one of the partners. I have a great supporting, not even a supporting cast, a family, the James Daniel family. We're great. And that's how you get through things. You know, just knowing you're not alone. And the toughest thing I've ever had to do was tell my kids I had cancer.
We're going to talk about all this today, dude, because there was a lot that you said in there that I kind of want to unpack, and I want to really break down the Big Daddy story, dude.
Gotcha.
So, let's start, when did you even get into DJing, and were you into singing first? How did this all come to be?
Well, a long, in the prehistoric age, before power, they had the Victrola, you had to wind it up. No. I started... back in my high school days, I graduated in 1973. I was in bands. I played trumpet. I was an all-state and all East Coast trumpeter in a jazz band. And then I tried my voice, and so I was playing trumpet and jazz and singing in a Chicago-based band. Here in Connecticut, but we did a lot of Chicago, horn band, everything else. And then I started DJing in bars and working in bars, running the Fore and Aft in Brewster. Met some amazing folks. I, became friends with Dee Schneider from Twisted Sister, one of my all-time mentors of all time. Being a front man in a rock band back then, it was, for me, Dee Schneider and Meatloaf in 1978. I got to meet Marvin, who was a wonderful man. But, honestly, way back when, I was a fat kid that got picked on all the time. So my self-image was not the greatest. But then as time grew on, and being hired by Jimmy, we'd been friends since his Fast Fingers days, and came back up here, and started in 1993 with Jimmy and the company, and it's been growing and growing and growing, and here we are.
Do you remember a gig or something, or like maybe a moment that was kind of like a turning point for you where things started to change?
There's a whole every event is different. Everything. One of the main things I do remember, I was doing an event in Florida. I had moved back down to Florida for a little bit in 1998. I had the honor of doing the Special Olympics for the state of Florida.
Insane.
I was on TV and everything else. I walked to the middle of the dance floor. There's 4,500 people in this thing. And I'd become Big Daddy about 2 years before that. And I said, Big Daddy needs a hug. That was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. These kids went nuts, and it was wonderful. But every event, there's always something you're always going to remember, because you're creating memories. You want good memories. We don't just, again, I'll bring up Jimmy and Paul, my two partners in this company. And Jimmy's the main man. The biggest thing right now is customer service. You have to answer the phone. You have to be available at all times, because now with cell phones and Zoom calls, since COVID, Zoom calls have been wonderful, because the bride and groom, or whoever your client, future client, if you're trying to book an event, Zoom calls is wonderful, because they're sitting in their living room, they're comfortable, they're not coming to an office they don't know, or they're not coming to Starbucks, they're sitting in their house and they're comfortable. But customer service is key. And I have to say, James Daniels customer service, we rock.
No, that's what I love to hear. I always tell people in any business, communication is key.
Absolutely, communication is key.
Number one, if you're able to communicate and just make people comfortable, like you're saying, you're going to go away
from the phone.
I know.
Answer the phone, return an email, whatever.
I feel some people are shy to answer the phone sometimes. What's that all about?
Text a lot. It's more texting and emailing than ever now. It drives me nuts, but I want to talk. Doing the kind of thing that we do, whether it's just be a casino or a little small jazz band, whatever it is, you can't feel the emotion. You can't feel how excited we are to do your event through your fingertips, emailing, because, and I tell everybody, when I start talking about this business, like right now, the hair on the back of my neck is standing on end. I love talking about this business. I love this business. And I've got to meet some of the most amazing people, just like I met Mike Squires because of this business. I met Mike Squires because of my boy Tommy Carlucci. And Jimmy introduced us too. But you know what? I could talk for days about this business alone, because you only get one shot. Dude. You don't get a second chance at a good first impression. And a good first impression is always the best. And if these clients know that you're there and you're only a phone call away or whatever, getting to your events early, and I mean early. I would rather sit in a parking lot and wait for the doors to open and get there and know that the client knows that I'm there, the venue knows that we're there. Jimmy and Paul and I, and all my guys know I'm a stickler. Get there early.
Oh, yeah. And you know what, too? It's like, it also goes back to reputation, because I know that your guys' reputation is phenomenal, and that's just years in the game of being consistent and being great, Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that, because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by Drokid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover Drokid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, Drokid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust DistroKid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used DistroKid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the DistroKid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with 2-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your DistroKid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional-grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends.
We've been downtown here on Bedford Street since 1991-92. We had a music store in the front and then studios and us in the back. Now we've got Cafe Lorca, which is in front. We got the golf store.
Lorca's my favorite, dude.
I love it. They do a great job. They're great folks. Just got bought out.
Oh, really?
By the place across the street, Cousin Jimmy's or Uncle.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know the place across the street, but Lorca is great. I was there this morning. Great
stuff, great folks. And, we've got our little thing back there. We've got AV and, event lighting and all our casinos and everything else. But, yeah, you know what? They know the name. Jimmy's known all over Fairfield County. Number one is James Daniel. Number two, as probably one of the best golfers anywhere. I've heard from friends that have gone to play golf with him. They learn more in 18 holes than they have in 18 years from Jimmy. Jimmy's also the coach of West Hill High School.
Oh, insane. I didn't know that.
Of the golf team of West Hill High School. And one of our DJs, Matt McCormick, is lacrosse coach and hockey coach for Stanford West Hill, also teaches there. And so we've got a local flavor.
No, I love it, dude. And it's crazy because earlier in this, you talked about, the joy that you were able to bring people and the smile. Dude, I remember being at my friend Ross Alter's bar mitzvah, and you guys were the guys supplying the music to it, bringing the event together. You know what I mean? Just to put that, I don't even remember when his bar mitzvah was, years and years ago, dude. But
I just did a wedding for a family whose younger son, I did the bar mitzvah. I've done repeat clients. We all do. If you make that impression, you make that the glue that sticks, if you will, they're going to call you back. You don't just... The one thing, as in life itself, you can't just get by.
No, I agree with that 1,000%.
And what you're doing with everything you're doing everywhere, with the Macy's thing that just happened today, and everything else that you're giving out, the Connect 4, all that stuff, trying to bring some life back to downtown Stanford, that's awesome. We need more of that.
Man, I appreciate it. And that means a lot coming from you, dude, as somebody who has been in the game, Justin, has probably seen it all if I hadn't.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? Pretty much. Speaking of seeing it all, dude, tell me a story of a crazy event that you have done that sticks in your mind, something that, like, whether good, bad, or just a funny memory you have of something you had to overcome at a gig.
Overcoming, when I got the phone call the first time I had cancer, I was on my way to an event. I had 400 kids. I was doing an event for the Girl Scouts in July down in somewhere in Westchester County. I got the phone call, pulled over the side of the road. All I asked the doctor, I said, "Is it life-threatening yet?" He goes, "Not yet." I said, "Okay." I did an event there. I did a wedding the next day for a friend that used to work at Bradford's, and also he worked at Brick House.
Okay.
Tony. And I also did the owner of Brick House, Danny, and his wife did Danny and Brenda's wedding 19 years ago.
Oh, amazing.
But to get myself into, thank heavens I had somebody with me, a good friend that had come out from Wisconsin, and he helped, I got my crap together, if you will, and made it through the weekend. But the toughest part of all of this was telling my kids.
What was that moment like?
Well, I made the mistake of telling everybody else before I told my kids because I was so scared. I promised them right then and there that there would never be a time that they were never not going to know what's going on, health-wise, whatever. But, that was a toughie. And
how old were you at the time?
That was 2008. That was 17 years ago. I was 51, 52.
Okay.
And then 2012, I had a melanoma on my arm and found out I was doing chemo from beginning October 1st till October 1st, 2012. And my younger son got married in August while I'm getting ready to go through all that stuff. And then my older son got married as I was going through treatments. So I went from, the second one was from October 1st of 2012 into September 30th of 2013. The first month was in hospital, 5 days a week, everything else. Not telling the world, because people in this business, some people get a little bit shady, if you will. Oh, did you know that Sean has cancer, this, that, the other? They would question booking me and everything else, so I kept that a secret. I had to keep it a secret from my mother the second time.
How did that feel?
Whoa! But I made it through, and here I am.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. And you said you didn't even miss a gig?
No.
It's insane. So what does it feel, you kind of got this thing in the back of your head just knowing, you got to get this cancer taken care of while you're kind of pushing forward.
I was giving myself a shot. I didn't have to go in 3 days a week. I give myself a shot Monday, Wednesday, Friday night before I went to bed. The worst day was after Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, coming down a little bit. Monday, Tuesday morning, after giving myself another shot. But a funny story is, the day that I was starting my shots that I was giving down here was the day that we had Sandy. I have the syringe ready. I'm all set. I got the cotton
Referring
swab.
to Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah, Hurricane Sandy. I get ready, go to put the syringe in, lights go out, syringe goes one way, I go the other. I look up and go, really? So that was the start of my, but I never missed, I flew out to Vegas to speak. I never missed anything. Tried to stay away from my mom because I'd had a bad car accident that January. And I looked like I'd been beaten up by 10 people because of my immune system was all bad. But other than that, you know what? My career has been amazing. I'm blessed. And again, thanks to Jimmy for hiring me in 1993, and here we are.
And we got to talk about the other side of it because you beat cancer.
Yes, twice.
What was that moment like, dude? Twice, which is insane.
Listen, I'm 11 and a half years cancer clear. It's just another day.
Congratulations, dude.
When I wake up in the morning, I put my feet on the ground, I look straight ahead. Am I still scared? Yes, every day. But you know what? Just went to my oncology people, my dermatology people, everything, I'm 70 years old, guys. I'm 70. But I have the mentality of a 12-year-old, and I'm more mature. My grandkids are more mature than me.
I feel I can relate to that, dude. I'm turning 30, but I still feel like I'm just a child, dude. Listen, what we get to do, with this and everything else that you're doing is trying to make a difference. And that's all we can do every day. And I think you need a little creativity, a little positivity, which
Absolutely.
I think, especially anybody in entertainment, I truly believe anyone in entertainment that's successful has a little bit of the hustle and finesse in them to make things happen.
You have to. And nowadays, with as many DJs as there are out there, and this company, that company, everything else, got to be ahead of the game. Listen, I'm not saying I'm going to stay forever. I'm on the backside of my career. I know that. But I've still, I've got a pretty full schedule. And I'm blessed. I thank all my clients. I thank Jimmy and Paul and for still believing in me, and all my clients and friends and family. And Speaking of family, I need to say this. My 2 sons are 2 of my greatest gifts ever. Desi and Casey. Desi's 41. Casey just turned 39. I have 4 boys and 2 granddaughters. I have 4 grandsons and 2 granddaughters. Daughter-in-law, Shannon, amazing. Casey's new person in his life, amazing. She's wonderful. But family means more than anything. And I lost a lot of time with family because of this career, because 90% of your work is on weekends. So I know if they're watching when this stuff comes out, and if they do end up watching, Desi and Casey, thank you for being born, number 1. Thank you for being amazing sons. And thank you for calling me dad.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with these careers.
There really is. And you know what? Sometimes you just sit and you go, but now with the grandkids, I'm able to, thanks to FaceTime and everything else, I'm able to see them at least 2 or 3 times a week. I go up to the 3 of them. Sean, my oldest one, I was able to go to his concert last week.
Oh, amazing, dude.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And so, you gotta, at this age, you gotta choose. And I'm hoping I'm choosing the right choice.
Yeah.
And getting our younger people out. We've got some great DJs coming out, some younger folks and everything else. Because I know by 2027, I'll still be doing this a little bit, but I want to be guiding all of these younger folks. Somebody called me the Godfather. I am the Godfather. I want to watch everybody succeed. Like Tommy, you, everybody. I want all of these folks to succeed. Whatever I've got to do to help that along, I will.
What's some of the best advice that you've ever received?
Focus on what's right. Always do what's right. And if somebody gives you advice, make sure that if it is good advice, take it, use it, and put it in a storage room. If it's bad advice, throw it out. That's, you know what? And just concentrate on the good and throw away the bad. Because right now, we need that now more than ever.
Yeah, and something I'm going to ask you specific, because there might be somebody listening to this that might have their own medical scare. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What's something that helped you get through your cancer?
My support group. My boys, Jimmy was a big, Paul, everybody was with me every day. And one of my dearest, best friends in the world, Mike Walter, out of Jersey, he called me randomly one morning on my way to radiation. Man called me every morning on my way to radiation. Every morning. And then I was on my way to my first chemo, and he didn't know that. He called me every day. Support like that. His mom, his dad, God rest his soul, his dad passed away 5 years ago on Mother's Day. They just celebrated his life a week ago. One of the greatest guys ever. But your support group, the people you can count on, my boy Jerry Siracusa, my boy, Chris D'Amico, all my guys, my folks here. Like I said, Jimmy, Paul, Jimmy's wife, Maddie, they were all my support group. And I leaned on them a lot. And somebody goes, "You didn't look like you had cancer." I said, "I don't know what it means to look like having cancer. I just was me." Yes, I lost a lot of weight because of the chemo and everything else, but you just got to stay focused, have a great support group, and be positive. Positive power works.
Oh, you're talking to the right guy, dude.
And let the day go by. You want it sometimes you just need that, take a little cat nap in the afternoon, whatever. I cat nap in the afternoon no matter what. Take a nice 25-minute, half-hour nap, wake up refreshed. And of course, it takes me forever to go to sleep at night, but whatever. But the support group and good friends and family,
Having a good circle to me is one of the most important things because it
tight circle.
Doesn't
have to be that big a circle.
I agree. But good.
I have a big circle, but I have an inner circle, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Oh yeah, there's like layers to this thing.
Yeah, there's layers to it. I have a whole bunch of people all over the United States and in New Zealand and London and everywhere else that know who Big Daddy, they're friends, family as I call them, friends that are family. But then I've got the core. You've got your core and you want to keep them.
It's so important too. I want to get over to some stories, dude, and I'm going to kick it off with a story that I was told about, or not told about, but told to ask you about by my good friend, Tommy Carlucci.
Oh, boy.
He said just ask you about Exit 36.
All right. Carlucci, I'm telling you right now, I will find you. Tommy, what I tried to tell him directions I was at, or I was trying to tell him how to go to directions, whatever it was. And it was actually Exit 35, not Exit 36. I also gave him directions to Mohegan Sun. He didn't, to Foxwoods. He didn't listen to me, but whatever. Yeah, Tommy and I have this big thing going on about Exit 36, and that will last in infamy forever. He teases me about it all the time. Now, you want to talk about somebody talented? DJ, he and I have done some DJ gigs together. He's done some weddings with me and everything else. And his drumming ability and he's killing it. He's killing it just like you are.
Well, Tom is the man, dude. I was with him the other night because we both worked the Cool in the Gang event at the Palace Theater.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, it was incredible. And, Tommy, all I could hear is, as I'm walking through the crowd is the DJ's doing incredible. So, and it's funny, I was doing photo and video that night, and I feel like the photo and video guy and the DJ have kind of a symbiotic relationship where he's kind of stuck up there. I'm like, yo, do you need any food? You need a drink? What do you need, dude? Because I can go out into the wild easier.
He is wonderful. His family, his mom and dad, Michelle and Tom, wonderful folks. They pat themselves on the back every day because of the great kid they raised.
Yeah, Tommy's the man. I gotta hear some stories from you, dude, because I know you have some crazy stories. Tell me a story about a travel gig that you did that was just ended up greater than you expected.
Well, I've traveled out. Back in the day before COVID, I flew out to San Francisco. I spoke at a DJ company out there, Denon and Doyle, and then I helped judge their talent contest, and then I drove from there down a little ways where I met and spoke for a wedding, fan base, whatever it was, like an ABC or the Knot, Wedding Wire, whatever. And I spoke in where Microsoft is, and the San Jose, wherever the 49ers are located. Spoke there, and I just, give me 15 minutes on the microphone, and I will positive power your way into next week. I'm nothing special, but I am a guy that will really tries, and maybe sometimes goes a little overboard, but with the positive power, I've got Big Daddy Loves You, Smile as Loud as You Can. I don't watch history, I make history. And there's a couple of others, DBAD, Don't Be a Dick.
I love that one, dude.
Yeah, that's a big one. And, there's just so many other things, and I'm sure that I rub some people the wrong way because of my positive power. But I got a lot to live for. I got my 6 grandkids, I got my sons, their mates, and, the James Daniel family, too. Jimmy and I have been friends for a very long time. Paul and I have been friends for over 35 years. And that's what it's all about.
What made you like this, though, dude? Because not a lot of people are positive. And this has come from I view myself as a positive person. But, sometimes people ask me, why? Literally, I was at the Palace thing I was telling you about the other day. And the woman comes up, she's like, why are you smiling? I was like, I don't know. I'm just happy. But where do you think your positivity comes from?
Because of the joy that I get by making memories for people.
And you know what? And I think it goes into finding your purpose, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think when you truly find what you're good at, it's it just becomes this fulfilling thing. Yeah. And you probably don't, I say this lightly, but it's like you probably don't feel like you worked a day in your life. Like it is work, but like because you enjoyed it, it's not.
Yeah, when you get home at the end of the day and your feet are barking, yeah. But it's really not. I've got great roadies. I've got great support crew. I also have a trainer. His name is Flo.
Talk to me about this.
Flo and I have been together. Flo used to be one of my breakdancers back in the day for bar and bat mitzvahs and corporate parties. And we lost touch for a little bit, but then I rehooked up with his sister at another training place up in Westport. My dear friend Andy Berman started training me a little over about 25 years ago. And then Flo and I rehooked up, and Flo and I get together every Friday at Underground Fitness here on Hope Street. And we do some videos every now and again, but we work hard. He works me out harder than anybody. Saved my life. Andy saved my life. Flo saved my life. All these guys saved my life. And it's just, again, people look at me like, he's 70 and he's doing it like this. I feel too good not to. You can't just sit around and waste your life away. Do I work out every day? I do my stretches every day. Back up and, my squats, my crunches, my legs with sciatica and everything else like that. But you just got to look everything like today is a great day and tomorrow's going to be even better.
Yeah, and fitness is so important too. It makes me happy to hear because I'm always very pro working out, because for me, that's something where it's like if I'm feeling stressed, if I'm feeling like anything.
Well, the big thing is also your eating, how your eating habits are. And mine were horrendous.
Being on the road will do that to you, dude.
Yes, it will, because you can't find anything that's... So for the last little over 5 weeks, no processed food has made its way into my mouth. No cheese.
Let's go, dude.
No bread of any kind. No white rice, nothing, potatoes, nothing processed. And you feel good because when you eat real food, that's what's killing a lot of people. The stuff that, all the junk. I don't eat ice cream. The only yogurt I do is the 000, the Oikos 000.
I know which one. I like that one.
Lots of fruit, nuts, and I'm a huge fan of hummus. Big fan of hummus.
Hummus is great, dude.
And it's got so much energy and protein in it for you. And, like if I go out to dinner, like going to Outback, I'll have just the boneless chicken with a double side of broccoli.
Those coconut shrimps do be tempting, though.
Yeah, they do be. All that stuff is tempting. But you know what? The farther in, the only thing I've had solid to eat since last night at 9 o'clock was a banana just before I saw you. I get my protein shakes, all plant-based, everything with that, as far as that stuff is concerned. No chemicals in the stuff. Everything that I do now is all plant-based and natural.
Some great advice I got into that world was eat based on what makes you feel good, not what tastes good.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Because you're going to get full no matter what you do. All this stuff that's, pasteurized cheese, it all has chemicals, and you can't do that to yourself. And then just get your exercise no matter what, and just walk a little bit here and there, get the heart up rate a little bit. You're good to go.
It makes a big difference. So since I've moved back to Stamford too, I'm like listening to everything you say, because I feel I've been walking so much more because I live downtown. Sure. So it's just easier for me
to walk the sidewalks. And we'll go back to golf, and Jimmy walks 18 holes. He walks 18 holes every time he plays, and he plays 2 to 3 times a week. God bless him for that, because if I had to walk 18 holes, I'd shoot myself. 9 holes in, I'd take a nap.
Yeah, dude. Tell me, Tell me something that the average person might not know about you. Something that's like a unique fact, maybe a hidden talent, maybe a story that you've never really shared that's funny. Because I know you got one.
Well, I used to play trumpet. I was all-state and all-East Coast trumpet player back in the day. But I think one of the biggest things I've done, and I did it for 20 years, the Princess Ball in Fairfield County. We used to do it in Danbury, Richfield, Ethan Allen. I met some of the most amazing folks in this, and one of them being Vince McMahon.
Oh, amazing.
And his son-in-law, Paul, Triple H. I met Triple H by chance because I was walking around and they told me, oh, this guy's a big, I said, I know who he is. I've been watching the man forever. So I saw him standing alone with his oldest daughter at the time, back like 12, 13 years ago. I shook his hand and I went straight down to Dakota. I said, I'm so glad you're here. I want you to have the greatest time with your dad. And if you need anything, you call me. You come up and see me. She goes, really? I said, absolutely. I shook his hand again. He looks at me and goes, you're good. I said, yeah, I know who you are. I've been a huge fan of yours. And my son was drooling because he was helping me load in and out. And when he came up at the end of the night, he goes, this is the best time I've ever had with my daughter. And I got to party with Paul and all three of his daughters at one point or another, and got to meet Stephanie and got to meet Vince. And Vince at one point called me the Magic Man. And I said, why the Magic Man? He goes, because watching you get these kids to do what they do and all this whole crowd to do what you do is magic. The hair on the back of my neck still stands on end. And I know Vince has gone through whatever. It is what it is. But what Paul is doing now and Stephanie and everybody over still calls me big man. And thanks to Tommy and his mom, Michelle, and Tom, got to go see some shows. And another dear friend of mine, I was there for the opening of Netflix show and everything else. So that's the kind of thing for me that I'm a big, Monday night, you want to try and call me after 8 o'clock at night? You're done. Monday Night Raw, baby. And if I'm not working on Friday nights, it's SmackDown Friday. But I wouldn't have met any of these people without doing what I get to do.
No, that's a beautiful thing, dude. Who are some other people? Because I'm sure you've met an insane amount of people throughout the years.
Okay, my 15 seconds of fame.
Talk to me about it.
The year was 2000. I had the honor, thanks to another gentleman that was working for James Yale at the time, I got to do Kathy Lee Gifford and Frank Gifford's daughter's 8-year-old birthday party.
Insane.
And it was a small crowd. And Cassidy comes over to her mom and says, Mommy, can we let everybody in because everybody wants to party? And she goes, do you mind? I said, Cassidy, whatever you want, you get. The next day on the Regis and Kathy Lee show, Regis goes, so did you have a little DJ? She goes, no, we had Big Daddy. And I was getting phone calls from, and I lived off that for a good 3 or 4 years. And I did like 5 or 6 other parties for Kathy Lee. And Frank, God rest his soul, was one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. My brother had his rookie card. And I said, Mr. Gifford? He goes, no, Mr. Gifford was my dad. Frank, would you sign this rookie card? That paid for my nephew's college. Selling that card, but he never sold it. But Frank was a wonderful man. We got to work with them 4 or 5 times. And, I've Indra Nui, who used to be the CEO of Pepsi. Now she works for, big, all over the world. Got to work for her for a while. Did some of her personal parties at her house for the girls and everything else. So I met some amazing people. Thanks to, I met Joe Torre, my brother. Now here's a quick story about my brother Danny, my middle brother, one of my best friends. He's an artist. He's done some amazing, he does all my graphics and everything else. He was sitting he's a Red Sox fan, mind you, a Red Sox fan.
How do you feel about that?
I got written out of my mother's will because I'm a Yankee fan, said she was a Red Sox fan. But he's sitting in Joe Torre's living room. He had just done a montage back when they won the first World Series, 1996. He calls me from the living room going, somebody wants to talk to you. He puts Joe Torre on. I said, you realize that you're sitting, Mr. Torre? He goes, Joe. I said, Joe, you realize you're sitting with the Red Sox fan? He goes, yeah, I know, but the picture he did of me was wonderful. So, all these things, because of this business, I got to meet all these amazing people. We've, Val Bella, right off Exit 5. Tony's at the J House. We do a bunch of work there. Met some amazing people because of this business. And again, I'll bring it back to Jimmy. Jimmy Romanello hired me in 1993. And I will put it to you right now. Jimmy, thank you, always. And James Daniel Entertainment will live on. even after I'm done doing this, we got some young folks, we got some great folks, and thanks to you and Paul, I appreciate you guys very much.
What do you think has been one of the biggest things for the company's growth? I feel like I might know the answer to
Diversify.
it. Oh, interesting.
Diversify.
Talk to me about this.
You can't, nowadays, even, back in the day, we didn't start AV and event lighting until, oh my God, 2005, something like that, whatever. TV screens, this, that, the other thing. And then we saw how casinos, the fake casinos where the fake money was working. We started that a little bit at a time, start small. And if you think it's working, you grow and you grow and you grow. But a key to that is making sure that the people you have working for you, the crews that you have working for you, are there for you.
What do you mean by that? Let's elaborate on that.
Not passing out somebody else's cards. Not passing out your own cards.
Is that something you dealt with a lot?
Not a lot, but enough. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, loyalty is a big thing.
Loyalty. And you know what? Right now, more than ever, we need loyalty more than ever. We need smiles. We need love. Because right now, the world is in turmoil. The world is in turmoil. You don't know what you can say to somebody. You don't know what somebody's going to say to you. If somebody's going to get offended. My grandkids are blessed to have the parents that they do. And I'm blessed to have that family. And I hope I've instilled in them a little bit of something good. It took me a long, long time because I was so worried about money and everything else. But it's not about money. It's about family. It's about love. And you don't know what you're missing out on. Because you blink, you're going to miss something. And being a part of Sean's 2 concerts, one in January and the one last week, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was working during the week like I used to do karaoke every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've decided not to do it. Because of days like that. And am I rich? No. I'll never be rich. Money-wise. But I'm rich in everything else.
I relate to a lot that you're saying, dude. I really do because, I think one thing, even just because like I said, I view myself as a positive person and just moving and being positive and looking out for other people's best interests, it helps you sleep at night because you know that your intentions are always pure.
Absolutely.
So I think that's something that, you're saying that really resonates with me.
Doing good things for other people. There's 2 different types. There's doing it to get attention, because I want to do a favor for you. I want that pat on the back, this, and the other thing. But then there's the other thing. You're doing good things all the time and not expecting anything in return. 2 different types of giving things. I don't do this for pats on the back. I do this because it's the right thing to do.
I think you nailed it right on the head, dude, because it's like, especially when you give with an expectation, it's like you're not really doing it because you wanted to. You're doing it because you thought something might come of this. You thought that but if you just do it and you're constantly doing it, it's like.
If you do it and you put a smile on somebody's face or you help somebody that's in trouble or whatever, right now I've got some folks that are having some serious health problems. The only thing I can do is call them every day, 2 or 3 times a day, just say, hey, are you okay? The family, mom, dad, everybody okay? Whatever we can do to help, let me know. It's just the right thing to do because you never know.
You really never know.
You never know. You may not wake up tomorrow. So you take advantage of every minute of every day. Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. If you want to answer it.
I'm going to answer it.
Yeah, he could hop on the pod, dude, real quick and let him know.
Hold on. Jimmy.
Special guest.
How was the podcast?
Babe, we're still on it. You're on it live and in living color right now.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Say hello. Jimmy, it's been great. This kid's great. And James Daniel, and I thanked you on the podcast, and I will thank you right now live and in living color. Thank you for believing in me, and thank you for being you.
I'll talk to you later, brother. Have a good day.
Thanks, babe. Yeah, I just made him feel great.
That's good, dude. That's good.
You know what? I don't like embarrassing him like that. He's a good man.
Yeah, I've actually never so I mean I could tell a quick story and I want to pull it back to you, but like that I kind of met you guys very quickly in the course of so my dad was with Jimmy and I got a phone call from my dad and Jimmy was on the line, and then after that phone call, within it might not even 5 minutes, probably less, I get a text from Tommy Carlucci. He's like, can I connect you with Big Daddy? And he was like, oh, so I talked to you and you're like, oh, you must have just talked to my business partner. And I was like, keep in mind, like it all happened so quickly. I was like, wait, what just happened there? You know what I mean? So it's small world is what I'm trying to say.
My friend.
But yeah, dude, I want to talk, what's something that you've had to, like, maybe just from like more of like a technical standpoint, like what's something you had to like overcome in your career of just like DJing and singing, and like, what's one of the things that you had to learn and like overcome from a technical standpoint?
Technical standpoint, you just got to keep up with the equipment. You got to do the right thing. And, being the old guy, people look and go, why are you still doing this at your age? Because I love it. Have I cut back a lot? Yeah, I cut back, not doing midweek karaoke or anything else like that. But yeah, there's folks out there that go, and I know that there's bride and grooms out there. I've got other guys, I've got younger guys, folks, and I bring them with me if they want me there. I bring them with me for the quick mix and everything else like that. But one of the things is just acceptance. Just acceptance. I enjoy everything I do. I really do. Do I get tired? Heck yeah. But you know what? Just being a part of that, and I know I just embarrassed Jimmy by doing what I said, but we've come a long way. We've been together for a long, long time. And all you can do is put your best foot forward every day and hope for the best.
Yeah, tell me a story about you and Jimmy, dude. Tell me about like a good time that you guys had. Maybe
I met Jimmy back in the day with Jimmy, Danny Carlucci, Teddy Hartlett, and Rob Riolo, all Stanford West Hill High School guys. They were in a band called Fast Fingers. And I was running the nightclub in the Brewster Fore and Aft. I was DJing there, plus I had my band there every Thursday, my band Sapphire. And I met these guys, and we became fast friends. And I used to have a house. Fast Fingers used to have a house in Wilton, the band house and everything else. And I used to go over, once a week. We'd hang out, we'd sing songs, we'd just gather, and we've been friends ever since. We have been friends ever since.
Yeah, and I'm curious, I don't know if you have a number, but do you know how many gigs that you've done over the course of your career? I can't even imagine, dude. But if you were to put a number on it.
I know that I've done over 2,500 weddings. I know I've done somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 to 700 bar mitzvahs, corporate parties, everything else. But also, I'm also a motivational speaker, so I go, my last speaking engagement was in Vegas. I was a closing keynote, and I also performed on stage. My next one I go to is in Atlantic City in August, which I won DJ of the Year there in 2007, and they put up a big banner in front of James Daniel Music. Congratulations to the DJ of the Year, and I was like, and I've been closing that show with a great bunch of DJs and MCs and everything else. I've closed that show. This will be my 18th year doing that. I will also be in Milwaukee next year. I've spoken again in Vegas, LA, San Francisco. I did a wedding in Mexico. Just did one in Canada last year. Outstanding. What a great time. With a 12-piece band, we had a ball.
Where in Canada?
Quebec City. Woo. Let me tell you, 8.5 hours up in my car, and I had a bad sciatica. Get up there, there's no elevators for anything. So the old man, I'm dying walking up steps. Drove straight down to Atlantic City to speak and perform in Atlantic City. And, but I've been everywhere.
Yeah, I want to kind of focus on your motivational speeches right now. If you were to give me a motivational speech right now, like how would you start it out, dude? Like what does that look like?
It's focus on the positive. Don't watch history, make history. Just remember why you're doing this. And it's not even my seminars they don't have the keynotes and all, they don't have the buzzwords and all that stuff on the screen. Mine are all about stories because I know everybody. And most of the people that are in the audience for my keynotes are friends from all over the United States. So, whether it be through the family struggles or knowing that an anniversary is coming up of something great that happened or whatever, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, guys, just remember. And one of the things is, whatever you're doing, whether you're mixing music in there, out here, you're only as good as your last event.
Play. Yeah.
Because you never know. That may be the last one you were ever going to do. And remember this, always, and I say this and people are like, I always end my conversations, no matter who you are, is with either much love or love you. And it's not anything that I'm looking for, because you never know. That love you or that hug that you gave somebody may be the thing they needed for that day. Like Saturday night's wedding I did up in Farmington. I had done a wedding for this couple, all Yukon folks. And these kids were outstanding. End of the night I finished by singing You Raise Me Up, which was what she walked down the aisle to. And I sang it at the end and all in a group hug, and they, that's memories. That's memories. You touched somebody, and people are coming up going, like Jimmy just got an amazing review on Google from a wedding he did about a month ago. That's the kind of reason, that's the reason we do this. That's the reason we do this. Yes. Do we make money? Yeah. Do we make good money? Yeah. But it's not about that. Yeah, it's great to.
And you can
ain't
tell
nobody paying my bills. Ain't nobody paying my bills.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Just like you, ain't nobody paying our bills. But if you can make a positive impact on somebody in that party by watching what you're doing or whatever you're doing, guys, watching and listening. You were born with 2 of these and 1 of these. Use these more than this. And but you hit on something. Oh my God, I can't remember you. I can't believe you remembered that. Listen first. Talk next. Just like when you're doing if you're interviewing a client for an upcoming wedding, or whatever. Let them talk. Let them talk. Let them go. And then, okay, what else? I mean, you want everybody to party. You want everybody to dance. What are you personally looking for? Whether it be a bar, bat mitzvah, whatever the case may be. Let them talk.
No, it is great advice, dude. Because some people want to yap all their accomplishments, yap it, and it actually ends up hurting them more than...
It doesn't... Listen, I'd be 3 hours listening the blessings that I've had. I was... a couple of years ago, I was named... Chris D'Amico, my dear friend, Kindness for Christopher Award winner for 2023. And just numerous awards that were just given to me for whatever. It's not about that. Because if there's no you or them, there's no us.
That's real, dude.
And they don't want to listen to what, all the great, all the things that the patting up. That's like patting yourself on the back while you're talking to people.
I'm very pro. Just let people find out. Just be nice, be positive, and most of your time.
And by the time you're finished, no matter if your price is higher than somebody else's, they want you anyway.
My dad gave me some of my advice that I cherish is that people work with you because they like you.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I live by that too because I think I'm good at what I do. I know I'm good at what I do.
Absolutely.
But I don't think that's why I always get the reoccurring business.
Listen, you got to smile. And again, the world is in turmoil right now. We are in turmoil. And I don't do politics. I know that my bills are being paid. I know that I work hard to make my bills paid. And I hope that I can help. If my kids need anything, even though, they've been married forever, if they need help, I'm able to have help. I'm able to help. And that's what it's all about. And again, I will go back to this. People like Tommy. been a major influence on my life. Do we tease each other all the time? Do I want to punch him in the throat every now and again at teasing? But I am so proud of everything he's doing with AEW, with WWE before, now AEW. His drumming with the Ryan Cabrera, everything he's doing, he's making the entertainment business better, and he's making his life better. His mom and dad, two of the greatest people in the world. Michelle and Tom, pat yourself on the back because he's a wonderful kid and your daughter's wonderful. And I love watching you raise up your granddaughter. She's awesome. But, you know, you've got Jimmy and Maddie Romanello. Their daughter, Marie Sophia, she is a rock star. Lafayette, she just finished her freshman year at Lafayette down in Pennsylvania. Great school. And she's amazing. Look at what our future holds. It's great to be able to be a part of that and just to watch it. I've watched Marie Sophia since she was born, and watching all these other kids since they were born and what they're doing now. And yeah, I'm the old goat on the totem pole. I'm the geezer. But you know what? I still love what I do.
Yeah. You know, what I'm learning right now in real time is that having you on a podcast for only an hour is really criminal. You know what I mean?
We'll do it again. We'll do part 2.
I'm down for part 2, but before I send this off, I want to let you talk about what your message to the world is. Every time I end a podcast, I ask my guests, if they could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
If I could be remembered for one thing, I hope I made you smile. I hope in one way or another I had some sort of positive impact on your life or your day or your minute or your hour. And I hope, in my son's case, I hope I was a good dad. In my grandkids' case, I hope I'm a good papa and peepa, the 2 names. And to all of my clients, I hope I did the right thing for all of you. That's what I got.
And I think just from hanging out with you, I already know that that's the case for all of those, my man.
Boom.
You know?
Boom.
Well, so if people wanted to connect with you and find you, how could they?
SeanBigDaddy@jamesdaniel.com is my email. Can I give my cell?
You can do whatever you want, dude.
Give my cell. It's the emergency number for James Daniel, so you can call it anytime. It's always on. Just ask everybody. I get phone calls.
You sure you want to do this, though? Because people might be calling.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Listen, that's what I'm here for. 203-253-1677. The office number, but use the 203-253-1677. It's about an event or anything else. Use that number because that's on. I'm very rarely at the office anymore. But SeanBigDaddy@JamesDaniel.com. You can see us on Facebook at James Daniel Entertainment, AV, Event Lighting, and Casinos. Wherever you see that name, give us a call. And you can find me under Sean McKee, SEAN McKee, MCKEE on Facebook, at Sean Big Daddy James Daniel on Instagram.
There we go.
I'm on Threads. I'm on all that crap. And I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel. And whatever channel he's on, I'm on.
Let's go, dude. And just to bring this to the end zone, I wanted to... I'll just pull it to the end. But you know what I want to say is because at one point in my life, I was a young Mike Squires at an event looking at you guys rocking it. I'm sure that we have crossed paths before.
I'm sure we have.
You know what I mean? At events.
Where'd you go to? Stanford High?
I went to AIT. I went to the nerd school.
So you had, what was his name?
Talk to me.
What was the principal's name?
Oh, Mr. Gross.
Wonderful. And there's a gentleman that, Sid Watson.
Okay, yeah.
He's the principal over there now.
Okay.
I think he is. He just got a big award. He was wonderful. But everybody over there.
I'm sure you know Robbie.
Yep. Al Perillo was one of the custodians there.
Yeah.
Forever and ever and ever. Oh, yeah.
No,
I did some work there.
Amazing, dude. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for, in my eyes, inspiring a whole generation, dude. And hope to have you back on the pod.
Absolutely. We got to do this again.
We got
another hour.
And I know exactly how to end it, dude.
Big Daddy loves you.
Much love.
Much love, brother.